Okay guys, I'm super excited for you guys to watch this video that's coming up. It's about Charlotte. We didn't have the best race weekend. We heard some stuff, but I got some help on my channel here. I got an interview with Mike on a question. I got an interview with Jim Oberhofer on the same question because they both tuned funny cars and dragsters and what the differences are. I got Clay helping me film. It was a good time. Those guys, I can't thank them enough for helping me out. So hope you enjoyed the video. Ask more questions. We're going to Houston this next weekend. If I haven't answered your question, watch the next video. I've got 3 or 4 questions that I've gotten recently that I'm saving up to film some other stuff, hopefully in Houston. So anyways, hope you enjoy the video. If you do, like and subscribe. Thanks. We are rolling up for Q1 at the Charlotte 4 Wides. Going to be kind of late. We're going to run, it's after 8 now, so we're not going to run probably till 8:30 or so. It'll be kind of fun for the fans. Night race is always good for the header flames. I'll try to get a shot of it. Guys, last night's fireball, we actually didn't blow the motor up. I'll turn this camera around and kind of show you what happened. So these are the pistons out of 1 and 2, and as you can see how much it got burnt. So what that does is allow a lot of pressure from the blower to get into the pan and go through and push, and it blew the line off of our puke tank, which is where it's taking all that oil, and that's what caused the big fireball, is all that oil went out and got on the header. And big old fireball, but actually the motor stayed in. We were able to polish the crank up, and the heads didn't even get hurt that bad, just a couple new sleeves and a new rack to go in. But the big old fireball, and we oiled down the track, which was unfortunate, but hopefully we have a better day today. But we still qualified, I think, like number 6, so all in all was not near as bad as it looked. So one of the questions I get all the time is, what are the 2 guys doing up at the injector hat after the burnout? Well, one of the things he's doing is Chris, who's on the passenger side of the car, he's removing the throttle stop. We have to have this on for NHRA, although Clay does the burnout without actually hitting the stop. It's there to not give him any more throttle than he needs to create a burnout, but he has to remove that. The other thing they're doing is they're looking inside the dash over Clay's shoulder to set the idle. And how you set the idle is with those 2 bleed screws there. There's 2 on the other side too, and it just changes the amount of air that's going into the injector. So they're setting the idle to a predetermined idle for the clutch. And then I'll walk around to the other side and show you what they do over there. So Mike Klober's on this side of the motor doing the same thing. He's adjusting these air bleeds here to get the idle set where he wants. And then the last minute adjustments he's making are with the barrel valve. And he's adjusting how much fuel is going into the motor. If you notice, it starts to tone change a little bit. It starts giving the motor a little bit more fuel right before Clay fully stages the car. And that's what they're doing up there. Another question I get is, what would Klober see to use the kill box to shut Clay off? Well, on the starting line, you'll notice that Klober goes all the way to the left side of the car, and our car chief, Chris, goes all the way to the right side of the car behind it. And they're looking at the headers mostly. I mean, they're looking at a lot more than just that, but they're looking at the headers to see if one starts puffing white, and that means we drop the hole. And he'll kill the car as soon as he can if he sees that it dropped the hole, because it'll hurt itself if it runs down there. On race day, that's a different story. If we're in the hunt or we're ahead of them, we'll let it eat itself. But normally in qualifying, as soon as it drops a hole, if he can see it, he can use the kill box, and it'll save a lot of parts. Here we are, we're pulling up for Q2. Hopefully she does a little better than she does last night, although we went pretty quick. We're qualified number 6 right now. but don't want to see another Fireball if we can help it.
Photographs are on HRA National Dragster at HRA.com. Doug, you and your family work.
with us this weekend, helping us out. I got this question quite a bit about what's harder to tune, or what's the biggest challenge between the Dragster and the funny car. Me and Jimo's tuned both of them. Let's see what he's got to say about it.
Well, Justin, they both have their challenges, whether it's a funny car or dragster. The biggest thing that I really said is with a dragster, you have to be more of an animal with the tune-up, or more aggressive, all that, and then as a driver, you have to have more finesse. The driver on top of the dragster. With a funny car, it's kind of opposite. You have to have some finesse with the tune-up, and the driver's got to be a little bit more of an animal. I would say the tuning window's a little bit smaller in a funny car because of the short wheelbase, because of some of the things like that. But what it boils down to is it's still a nitro engine. It still has a clutch in it, and you have to make the right decisions to get the most out of the race car. So whether it's a 300-inch wheelbase or 125-inch wheelbase with a body on it, you still have to make the right decisions as far as how you apply the clutch, how you apply the power. What I normally see is probably the engine setup is nowhere near as aggressive as it would be for the Dragster. The clutch setup's not as aggressive either. So, but they're both fun to tune because, I mean, anytime you're messing with nitro, that's fun stuff.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you guys next time. All right, folks. It's Sunday morning. We're rolling up for E1 of the 4 wide in Charlotte. And as you can see, we've got a pretty decent crowd out here today. Hopefully we can turn on 3 wind lights. Caitlin's driving the car. You're doing good.
You are rolling.
All right, guys. I got asked a question. They wanted to know what Mike thought the hardest difference between tuning a funny car and a Top Fuel Dragster is, being he's been tuning both of them. So, Mike, what's the hardest thing for you?
Well,
difference-wise?
Funny cars are very challenging. They like to smoke the tires. It's really easy to smoke the tires with a funny car. So the balance of your car is really critical, and so it makes it a lot trickier to get down the racetrack. And you have to slow a funny car down a lot more to go down a bad track than you have to slow a dragster down to go down a bad track. So a funny car is far more challenging in terms of getting down the quarter mile on a regular basis. Funny car, so as you can see, I more favor a dragster over a funny car, but my early years in racing was all funny cars. I was a man's car, and with no disrespect intended, they still are. You have to wrestle a funny car down the racetrack. You almost have to be intuitive when you drive.
Big bombs in front of you.
The big bombs in front of you, but the guys that drive funny cars, they think dragsters are boring. Rick Johnson, a good friend of mine, good funny car driver, drove Top Fuel cars. He said the Top Fuel car is like an armchair.
I don't know how going 300 miles
like
an hour
an
is
easy
ever
chair
an armchair.
compared to driving a funny car, where constantly on it. You can see that with the in-car cameras. Funny cars have a whole different set of aerodynamic limitations and problems, to deal with. Dragster, it's got a nice big wing up in the back. Gives us downforce earlier in the run. Our wheelbase is longer. We have better traction. So that's the big difference between the Dragster and a funny car. The Dragster's just got a lot more traction, and they're still the kings of the sport.
Yeah.
All right. Funny cars, they catch on fire, and you burn them to the ground, and that's 10 times more work than doing what we did to the Dragster this weekend. Because we'd have been getting a spare body out, and then we'd been working all day tomorrow and the next day fixing the body that we burned a little, and
instead of just replacing a few wires.
Yeah.
And one parachute.
And a funny car body, $75 grand now.
Yeah.
And so we don't have that $75 grand bill to tow around with us with a Dragster, so that makes running the Dragster a little more fun for me. But I've wind tunneled lots of funny cars. They're fun to do, and I'd like to stick Clay in one. I'd like to put Clay. Oh, for all of you, Clay's actually on the other side of the camera for a change. He's the cameraman. So he's chuckling, so if there's any shaking in the screen, it's because he's chuckling about wanting to drive a funny car.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's been a busy, long weekend and a little rough one for us, and for answering that question. And being we got Clay behind the camera real quick, we can get in a funny car?
Absolutely.
All right, there you have it, guys.
There's been many a times when Mike said, much as you like moving around, I'd love to put you in one because then it wouldn't be, it's big a deal.
All right, guys, thank you.